Greetings, everybody, and welcome from Bearcat Blast. We took a week off because I stayed home for a week. I thought that spring break was last week, but no, I had influenza, so I am back. Mrs. Ferguson is joining us today, so Dr. Loof looks a little bit better today with her in his place, I think. Just going to go over some things for this week that we're gonna have going on. Term 4 starts, so we just ended term 3. How'd your term 3 go?
It went well. Kids were scrambling there at the end, but they made it happen, so.
Good. Get some credit, get some advancement. So today is the due date, March 9th, for the AP exam registration. So those of you guys that are taking the AP exam in May need to have that paid for. Miss Katie is your contact person for that. So make sure you get that done. Thursday, we're going to be doing our juniors with On to College. John Baylor will be here to work with them. Last names A through L, you guys are from 12 to 140, and last names M through Z, you're from 2 to 340. You'll be getting emails about it, so make sure you're paying attention to that. What have you noticed, Mrs. Ferguson, with the John Baylor test prep with English? Since you teach English, have you seen any good stuff with that, or have you noticed anything that kids are doing that's being helpful for them?
Yes, the practice tests and the skills that John Baylor focuses on are extremely important. The ACT questions are structured differently than a lot of normal English tests. So getting the practice and knowing what to look for, the most commonly asked grammar questions, that stuff is super important, and it's proven that practice in those areas is going to up your score. And I would imagine the same thing is true for the other subject prep, but I know for sure the practice is going to impact English score. So if that's your weaker subject, or you just really know what score you need, definitely recommend actually giving that your all, because you will see perks from that on your ACT score. So.
Awesome. Thanks for that input. Seniors, I want to remind you guys that we're into your last term. Some of you have actually ended your high school career at the end of term 3. Local scholarships are still available. You can still apply for those things. Like I've told people time and time again, if I had an envelope full of money that had $250 in it, would you take it? And the kid always says yes, and I'm like, then why don't you apply for that scholarship?
Right.
So free money is always good money in my eyes, and the more you can get, the better off you're going to be down the road. You don't want to be 40 years old paying back your college loans.
No.
So if
No,
you can find ways to pay for them, which there are so many ways to pay for post-high school education that you just have to do a little bit of legwork. Winter sports are done.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Yes.
Basketball is
So
done. But spring sports have started, so we've got a lot of activities. I think the spring sport coaches are probably pretty excited right now, because it's been a few years since they've been outside at the start of their season practicing.
Right.
And I've seen the soccer teams out on the pitch. I've seen the track teams out on the track, baseball team out at Memorial Field. We've had a lot of opportunities with our weather to get out there and get going. So hopefully that continues for those groups. Also, the spring musical is going to be coming up. And some of those activities are going on. So it's going to get real busy real fast with spring sports and activities. Hopefully there's some nice days that you can take your daughter and go watch some of those.
I know. She loves coming to Kearney High sporting events and plays and stuff, so we're excited for it.
Hopefully the weather's good for all that.
I know.
Hey, do you remember your junior prom?
No, I didn't go to junior prom,
You
but I
didn't go to
did go
junior
to
prom?
senior prom.
You went to
I remember
senior prom.
prom. I remember
You remember
prom.
prom?
Yes, it was super fun.
Good.
Loved it.
Well, I don't know. Where you grew up, maybe you only went as a senior. Some places it's junior, senior. Some places it's just seniors. If you go to some of the small schools, it seems like it's 7 through 12. So, I mean, there's always something going on with that. But Saturday, March 21st at the Eunice Conference Center is Kearney High Prom.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, okay? Doors open at 5:30. There's a social hour from 6 to 7 with complimentary drinks, and they actually have a specialty drink menu. I think those are $2.50. Dinner is served at 7, and the dance goes from 8 to 11. So fun stuff.
That's super fun.
Dress
Yeah,
up,
can't wait to see
look
pictures
nice.
of all
Yeah. Post-prom will be at the Big Apple Fun Center. Lots of stuff going on. There has been a lot of parents putting in a ton of work, either raising money, organizing things, getting people to come in for the kids. I think they're going to have some giveaways, some prizes like a 55-inch 4K TV, some Nintendo Switches, AirPods, things like that. Prom tickets are going to cost $30. Post-prom is $10. All sales are final. You can just buy a prom ticket and not a post-prom ticket. If you don't want to go to prom and you just want to go to post-prom, you can buy a ticket and just go to that. So either or, if you want to buy both, great. If you only want to do one or the other, it's free country, choose what you want to do. How do we get those tickets? That's the big thing, is how do we get those tickets? Okay, you have to complete a prom ticket order form with contact information. Collect the appropriate signatures to indicate you have no fines with the media center or the main office, so you can go. And then complete a dance form if you are taking a date that is a non-KHS student. That's super important.
There was some pretty detailed information that went out through your Bearcat times, the order forms, as well as all the checklist of items you have to follow to bring a date from out of the school. So you should already have all that information, or your students should.
And if you don't, you know who to ask. So where can you get a ticket form? Your Bearcat Time teacher or the library. Where do you purchase tickets for prom at? Ticket sales start this week. Mrs. Eichhoff will be selling tickets during lunch in the cafeteria commons. Payment for tickets may be in cash. They prefer cash or a check. I'm attending prom with a student from Kearney High School. How do we buy tickets? I just told you that you need to fill out the prom ticket order form, and you can purchase your tickets independently or you can buy them together. Make sure you complete that ticket order form and indicate the name of your guest if you're bringing someone from outside Kearney High. Okay, and like we said, that school dance guest form is very important. If you don't have that form done, you're not getting that date from outside Kearney High in. When are those due by, do you know?
Those are due by Friday the 13th. So this Friday, we have to have all guest forms in the administrative office in order to be able to bring somebody not from Kearney High.
I hope there's a full one on Friday the 13th too. It always makes for good days of school. Okay. There's also an ACT parental consent form that must be signed and returned to us before spring break. It's a federal requirement that we have to do. The form is emailed to everybody, but if you can't find it or you don't know where it's at, talk to your junior Bearcat time. You don't want Mr. Madison to start hunting you down to get that form in, so make that man's life easier and get that stuff done. Next week, cheer tryouts are going to be March 18th, 19th, and 20th. Good luck to everybody that's trying out to be part of the cheer squad. This week, we have the Student Council Blood Drive, so make sure you sign up and do that. This week, we also have our Severe Weather Awareness Week. The state one is actually going to be when we're on spring break, so we're going to do it ahead of time. Bearcat time this week. Freshmen, you guys are going to be doing School Connect Lesson 1-18. That's taking effective notes. Sophomores, you guys are going to work on pre-ACT science stuff. Juniors, you're on to college, will be working on some math stuff. And seniors, you guys are going to do some panoramics. So fun. I can't wait to see what that brings.
Those are always fun to look back on in 10 years or whatever.
And now my Be Kind challenge for the week. Spring is coming. We've had a little bit of spring fever with the weather. Walking in and out of the building, I noticed that we have trash around the school in the yard, just as the wind blows, and the wind last week blew a lot. We were in those fire warnings, things like that. Try and pick things up. If you're walking in the building and you see trash on the ground, pick it up, throw it away. The taxpayers of Kearney have really blessed us with a great building and a great facility. Yeah. We need to do a better job of keeping it clean. We have great custodians who work hard to keep it clean, but if we all do a little bit of kindness and cleaning up after ourselves and others, the place is going to look like it did when we opened, and that's a goal that we have is to get this place cleaner, and it takes every single one of us in this building to do that. So my challenge to everybody is let's do some spring cleaning and get things clean. So,
Awesome. It's a good challenge.
sound good? Well, Mrs. Ferguson, thanks for joining us this week. I don't know what Mr. Goff has behind us right now, but
Again to the end zone and purified. Touchdown, Cornhuskers!
he's threatening to do something with Texas since you are a native Texan. So,
Forgive me.
all right. You guys have a good week. Spring break's coming. Let's have a great first week of term 4, and I'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, guys.